U.S. Government Job Assistance Information. Federal Government One-Stop Career Centers. There are several thousand U.S. federal government career centers in most towns across the United States. They have free workshops on resumes, interviewing, etc. You can meet a job counselor and get help. You put your location in a box there and it gives you centers within 25 miles. Find centers near you like this or go to your local phone book. ServiceLocator.org, America's Service Locator, partnered with America's Job Bank and America's Career Infonet, connects you to local government offices providing the employment and training services. CareerOnStop.org. Government job help websites / government labor help websites. AmericasJobExchange.com. AmericanJobs.com, American Jobs. USAJob.gov, USA Jobs. Service Corps of Retired Executives, SCORE. SCORE.org. Sponsored by the Small Business Administration, SCORE is a national organization of business executives who volunteer to provide free seminars to business people. Small Business Development Centers, SBDC. SBA.gov/SBDC. Private groups and individuals who provide assistance, counseling, and training on small business development. Government Printing Office Publications. GPOaccess.gov. U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA. USDA.gov. U.S. Department of Commerce, DOC. Commerce.gov. This agency offers information, advice, and grant programs, including business opportunities supplying goods and services to the federal government. U.S. Department of Labor, DOL. Employment Standards Administration. DOL.gov. The DOL provides information and publications about compliance with federal labor laws. U.S. State Government Job Banks. State Employment Service, sometimes called the Job Service, operates in coordination with the U.S. Labor Department's Employment Service. About 1,700 local employment offices, also known as employment service centers, help job seekers locate employment and help employers find qualified workers at no cost to themselves. These are managed by state governments as employment services departments which manage a network of employment agencies throughout the state that offer training, education, and employment resources to the general public all for free. They are as good as you can get for free, offering good resource material for virtually all manner of vocation. You go in, bring your resume and either use the resource materials they have there on your own or get an interview with an employment counselor who will take you step by step through the job search process tailored to your field, or if you don't have a career, they will help you find one and get training. The career counselor might start a file on you if you want one, give you leads which you're supposed to follow up, then you meet with them once every few weeks to chart your progress and move along. They're quite busy though. Don't expect them to baby you. They may have 40 to 50 clients or more. Get the info that they give you on where to look to find a job, then find one yourself, but use them too because they sometimes know when someone is coming in from another area to interview candidates for a particular job. Where I come from, there aren't skilled people in the northern towns, so people come down and interview people in the big city to fill these small town jobs. Examine the job bank, a computerized listing of public and private sector job openings that is updated daily. Select openings that interest you, then get more details from a staff member who can describe the job openings in detail and arrange for interviews with prospective employers. These places can test for occupational aptitudes and interests and then help you choose and prepare for a career. These offices also list summer youth programs and summer jobs in city, county, and state government agencies for low-income youth. Students, school dropouts, or graduates entering the labor market who are between 16 and 21 years of age are eligible. In addition, the Job Corps, jobcorps.gov, 800-733 jobs, with more than 100 centers throughout the United States, helps young people learn skills or obtain education. CareerOnStop.org/job-search/find-job/state-job-banks.aspx. JobLink.alabama.gov/Ada, Alabama. jobs.state.ak.us/jobseeker.htm, Alaska. azjobconnection.gov/der/ea/wcmrs, Arizona. rjoblink.arkansas.gov/ada/default.cfm, Arkansas. caljobs.ca.gov, California. connectingcolorado.com, Colorado. connecticut.us.jobs/index.asp, Connecticut. joblink.delaware.gov/ada, Delaware. dcnetworks.org, District of Columbia. employflorida.com, Florida. dol.state.ga.us/js/job_info_system.htm, Georgia. guam.us.jobs, Guam. hiranethawaii.com/default.asp, Hawaii. labor.idaho.gov/dnn/default.aspx, alias equals labor.idaho.gov/dnn/idl, Idaho. Illinois. joblink.illinois.gov/ada/skillmatch/jobseeker_sm/jbs_job search_dsp.cfm, Illinois. indianacareerconnect.com, Indiana. iowajobs.org, Iowa. kansasworks.com/ada, Kansas. focuscareer.ky.gov, Kentucky. louisianaworks.net/hire/vosnet/default.aspx, Louisiana. gateway.maine.gov/dole/mjb/jobseeker/jobseekerwelcome.aspx, Maine. mwejobs.maryland.gov, Maryland. web.detma.org/jobquest/default.aspx, Massachusetts. metalent.org, Michigan. minnesotaworks.net, Minnesota. wings.mdes.ms.gov/wings/welcome.jsp, Mississippi. jobs.mo.gov, Missouri. jobs.mt.gov/jobs/login.seek, Montana. dol.nebraska.gov, Nebraska. nevada.us.jobs, Nevada. nhworksjobmatch.nhes.nh.gov, New Hampshire. jobs4jersey.com, New Jersey. jobs.state.nm.us, New Mexico. jobcentral.org/New York, New York. ncworks.gov, North Carolina. jobsnd.com, North Dakota. marianaslabor.net/jvapub_list.asp, Northern Mariana Islands. ohiomeansjobs.com/omj, Ohio. servicelink.oesc.state.ok.us/ada/default.cfm?, Oklahoma. emp.state.or.us/jobs, Oregon. jobgateway.pa.gov, Pennsylvania. Puerto Rico.us.jobs, Puerto Rico. employri.org, Rhode Island. jobs.scworks.org, South Carolina. dol.sd.gov, South Dakota. jobs4tn.gov, Tennessee. twc.state.tx.us/job/job.html, Texas. jobs.utah.gov/jsp/utahjobs/seeker/search/search.do, Utah. vermontjoblink.com, Vermont. vidleviews.org/vosnet/default.aspx, Virgin Islands. voc.virginia.gov, Virginia. wa.gov/esd/worksource/employment.aspx, Washington. wvcommerce.org/business/workforce wv/job_seekers/default.aspx, West Virginia. jobcenterofwisconsin.com, Wisconsin. wyomingatwork.com, Wyoming. United States state government job websites. Alabama. dir.alabama.gov, Department of Industrial Relations. alalabor.state.al.us, Department of Labor. personnel.state.al.us, Personnel Department. Alaska. jobs.state.ak.us, Alaska Job Center Network. labor.state.ak.us, Department of Labor and Workforce Development. eeo.state.ak.us, Office of Equal Employment Opportunity. Arizona. ArizonaWorkforceConnection.com, Arizona Workforce Connection. hr.state.az.us, Human Resources Division. ica.state.az.us, Industrial Commission of Arizona. statefund.com, State Compensation Fund. Arkansas. arks.org, Arkansas Workforce. state.ar.us/labor, Department of Labor. work-ed.state.ar.us, Department of Workforce Education. state.ar.us/ESD, Employment Security Department. oxy.state.ar.us, Workers' Compensation Commission. California. caljobs.ca.gov, CalJobs. dfa.ca.gov, Department of Fair Employment and Housing. dir.ca.gov, Department of Industrial Relations. dpa.ca.gov, Department of Personnel Administration. www.cahwnet.gov, Employment Development Department. etp.cahwnet.gov, Employment Training Panel. spb.ca.gov, State Personnel Board. Colorado. coworkforce.com, Department of Labor and Employment. state.co.us/dpa, Department of Personnel and Administration. Connecticut. ctdol.state.ct.us, Department of Labor. wcc.state.ct.us, Workers' Compensation Commission. Delaware. delawareworks.com, Department of Labor. delawarepersonnel.com, State Personnel Office. vcnet.net, Virtual Career Network. Florida. floridajobs.org, Agency for Workforce Innovation. myflorida.com/dms/hrm/myflorida/statejobsearch.html role no follow, State Jobs. Georgia. dol.state.ga.us, Department of Labor. gceo.state.ga.us, Georgia Commission on Equal Opportunity. gms.state.ga.us, State Merit System of Personnel Administration. Hawaii. hawaii.gov/hrd, Department of Human Resources Development. dlir.state.hi.us, Department of Labor and Industrial Relations. Idaho. cl.idaho.gov, Department of Commerce and Labor. idahosys.org, Idaho Career Information System. Illinois. ides.state.il.us, Department of Employment Security. state.il.us/agency/idle, Department of Labor. icsc.il.gov, Illinois Civil Service Commission. iwcc.il.gov, Illinois Workers' Compensation Commission. Indiana. in.gov/jobs, Department of State Personnel. in.gov/labor, Department of Labor. in.gov/dwd, Department of Workforce Development. Iowa. state.ia.us/government/edop/index.html, Department of Personnel. smartcareermove.com, IDED, Iowa. The Smart Career Move. iowajobs.org, Iowa Jobs. iowaworkforce.org, Iowa Workforce Development. Kansas. dol.ks.gov/index.html, Department of Labor. kansasjoblink.com/ada, Kansas Job Link. Kentucky. workforce.ky.gov, Cabinet for Workforce Development. labor.ky.gov, Department of Labor. personnel.ky.gov, Department of Personnel. environment.ky.gov, Environmental and Public Protection Cabinet. oet.ky.gov/index.asp, Office of Employment and Training. Louisiana. lowercase.net, Department of Labor. dscs.state.la.us, Department of State Civil Service. Maine. state.me.us/labor, Department of Labor. MaineCareerCenter.com, Department of Labor, Career Center. Maryland. dllr.state.md.us, Department of Labor, Licensing and Regulation. Massachusetts. detma.org/default.html nofollow, Division of Employment and Training. Michigan. michigan.gov/mdcd, Department of Career Development. michigan.gov/mdcs, Department of Civil Service. mikehworks.org, Michigan Works. michigan.gov/os, Office of the State Employer. Minnesota. bms.state.mn.us, Bureau of Mediation Services. deed.state.mn.us, Department of Economic Security. doer.state.mn.us, Department of Employee Relations. deed.state.mn.us, Department of Employment and Economic Development. doli.state.mn.us, Department of Labor and Industry. mnworks.org, Minnesota's Job Bank. Mississippi. mdes.ms.gov, Department of Employment Security. ajb.org/ms, Mississippi Job Bank. mwcc.state.ms.us, Mississippi Workers' Compensation Commission. spb.state.ms.us, State Personnel Board. Missouri. dolir.state.mo.us, Department of Labor and Industrial Relations. dolir.state.mo.us/es/ui-tax/main.htm, Department of Labor and Industrial Relations, Unemployment Insurance Tax. greathires.org/cgi-bin/index.cgirl nofollow, Great Hires. Montana. dli.state.mt.us, Department of Labor and Industry. jsd.dli.state.mt.us, Montana Job Service. Nebraska. dol.state.ne.us, Department of Labor. naoblink.dol.state.ne.us, Department of Labor, Nebraska Job Service. workforneb.org, Work4Neb. Nevada. detar.state.nv.us, Department of Employment, Training and Rehabilitation. dop.nv.gov, Department of Personnel. New Hampshire. labor.state.nh.us, Department of Labor. nhworks.org, NHWorks. New Jersey. state.nj.us/labor, Department of Labor. state.nj.us/personnel, Department of Personnel. wnjpin.state.nj.us, Workforce New Jersey Public Information Network. New Mexico. dol.state.nm.us, Department of Labor. New York. cs.state.ny.us, Department of Civil Service. labor.state.ny.us, Department of Labor. nyzip.com, New York State Insurance Fund. wcb.state.ny.us, Workers' Compensation Board. North Carolina. ncesc.com, Department of Commerce, Employment Security Commission. nclabor.com, Department of Labor. osp.state.nc.us, Office of State Personnel. North Dakota. state.nd.us/labor, Department of Labor. jobsnd.com, Job Service North Dakota. workforcesafety.com, Workforce Safety and Insurance. Ohio. bwc.state.oh.us, Bureau of Workers' Compensation. jfs.ohio.gov, Department of Job and Family Services. serb.state.oh.us, State Employment Relations Board. Oklahoma. state.ok.us/okdol, Department of Labor. oesc.state.ok.us, Employment Security Commission. opm.state.ok.us, Office of Personnel Management. Oregon. boli.state.or.us, Bureau of Labor and Industries. cbs.state.or.us, Department of Consumer and Business Services. emp.state.or.us, Employment Department. -r.state.or.us/jobs, State Jobs page. Pennsylvania. dli.state.pa.us, Department of Labor and Industry. Rhode Island. dlt.ri.gov, Department of Labor and Training. South Carolina. sces.org, Employment Security Commission. wcc.state.sc.us, Workers' Compensation Commission. South Dakota. state.sd.us/BOP, Bureau of Personnel. state.sd.us/dole/dole.htm, Department of Labor. Tennessee. state.tn.us/labor-wfd, Department of Labor and Workforce Development. state.tn.us/personnel, Department of Personnel. Texas. rehab.state.tx.us, Texas Rehabilitation Commission. twcc.state.tx.us, Texas Workers' Compensation Commission. Utah. dhrm.state.ut.us, Department of Human Resource Management. jobs.utah.gov, Department of Workforce Services. laborcommission.utah.gov, Labor Commission. Vermont. det.state.vt.us, Department of Employment and Training. state.vt.us/labnd, Department of Labor and Industry. vermontpersonnel.org, Department of Personnel. state.vt.us/vlrb, Labor Relations Board. Virginia. virginia.gov/cms portal/employment_850/index.html, Business and Employment. careerconnect.state.va.us, Career Connect. dhrm.state.va.us, Department of Human Resource Management. doli.virginia.gov, Department of Labor and Industry. vec.virginia.gov/vec portal, Virginia Employment Commission. Washington. wa.gov/esd, Department of Employment Security. lni.wa.gov, Department of Labor and Industries. hr.dop.wa.gov, Department of Personnel. West Virginia. state.wv.us/bep, Bureau of Employment Programs. labor.state.wv.us, Division of Labor. Wisconsin. dwd.state.wi.us, Department of Workforce Development. ozer.state.wi.us, Office of State Employment Relations. Wyoming. wydoe.state.wy.us, Department of Employment. wyomingworkforce.org, Department of Workforce Services. honestop.state.wy.us, Wyoming Job Network. State job government job websites for veterans, government jobs, and police by state. Alabama. va.state.al.us, Department of Veterans Affairs. personnel.alabama.gov, State of Alabama government jobs. Alaska. dmva.alaska.gov, Department of Military and Veterans Affairs. jobs.state.ak.us/veterans, Veterans Services. jobs.state.ak.us/statejobs.html, State of Alaska Government Jobs. dps.state.ak.us/ast/recruit, State Troopers. Arizona. AZDVS.gov, Department of Veterans Services. secure.az-stategobs.gov/pljb/azgovjobs/mainjb/applicant/index.jsp, State of Arizona Government Jobs. AZDPS.gov/careers, Department of Public Safety Jobs. Arkansas. Veterans.arkansas.gov, Department of Veterans Affairs. azeta.gov/esa/vets.asp. ark.org/ar-statejobs/index.php. California. cdva.ca.gov, Department of Veterans Affairs. edd.ca.gov/jobs_and_training/services_for_veterans.htm, Employment Services for Veterans. cdva.ca.gov/resources/employment.aspx, Employment Resources for Veterans. jobs.ca.gov, State of California Jobs. chp.ca.gov/recruiting/index.html, California Highway Patrol. Colorado. colorado.gov/cs/satellite/Department of Military and Veterans AF Ferris/CBON/1251619753245, Department of Military and Veterans Affairs. colorado.gov/vets, Division of Veterans Affairs. agency.governmentjobs.com/colorado/default.cfm, Colorado State Jobs. colorado.gov. Connecticut. ct.gov/ctvia/site/default.asp, Connecticut Department of Veterans Affairs. ctdol.state.ct.us/veterans/default.htm, Veterans Workforce Development. das.ct.gov/cr1.aspx $page=13, Connecticut State Jobs. ct.gov/dpp/cwp/view.asp?$4156$q=487880, Connecticut Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection. DC. ova.dc.gov, District of Columbia Office of Veterans Affairs. dchr.dc.gov, District of Columbia Jobs. Delaware. veteransaffairs.delaware.gov, Delaware Commission of Veterans Affairs. delawarestatejobs.com, Delaware State Jobs. dsp.delaware.gov/dsprecruiting.shtml, Delaware State Police Recruiting. Florida. floridavets.org, Florida Department of Veterans Affairs. flhsmv.gov/fhp/career, Florida Highway Patrol. Georgia. veterans.georgia.gov, Georgia Department of Veterans Service. careers.ga.gov, Georgia State Jobs. dps.georgia.gov/career-opportunities-public-safety, Georgia Department of Public Safety. Hawaii. hawaii.gov/dod/ovs, Hawaii Office of Veterans Services. agency.governmentjobs.com/hawaii/default.cfm, Hawaii State Jobs. Idaho. idaho.gov. veterans.idaho.gov, Idaho Division of Veterans Services. dhr.idaho.gov/statejobs.html, Idaho State Jobs. isp.idaho.gov/hr/currentjobs.html, Idaho State Police. Illinois. illinois.gov/veterans/pages/default.aspx, Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs. work.illinois.gov, Illinois State Jobs. illinoistrooper.com, Illinois State Troopers. Indiana. in.gov/devia, Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs. in.gov/devia/2390.htm, Indiana Veterans Employment Assistance. in.gov/spd, Indiana State Jobs. in.gov/isp/2368.htm, Indiana State Police. Iowa. va.iowa.gov, Iowa Department of Veterans Affairs. iowaworkforce.org/veterans/index.html, Iowa Veterans Employment Centers. das.hre.iowa.gov/index.html, Iowa State Jobs. dps.state.ia.us/jobs/trooper2.shtml, Iowa Department of Public Safety. Kansas. kcva.ks.gov, Kansas Commission on Veterans Affairs. da.ks.gov/ps/AAA/recruitment/veterans/vetemployinfo.htm, Kansas Veterans Employment. da.ks.gov/ps/AAA/recruitment, Kansas State Jobs. Kentucky. veterans.ky.gov, Kentucky Department of Veterans Affairs. veterans.ky.gov/employmentinfo, Kentucky Veterans Employment Information. oet.ky.gov/de/veteran/veteran.asp, Kentucky Veterans Employment and Training Services. personnel.ky.gov/employment, Kentucky State Jobs. kentuckystatepolice.org/career.htm, Kentucky State Police. Louisiana. vetaffairs.la.gov, Louisiana Department of Veterans Affairs. civilservice.la.gov/index.asp, Louisiana State Jobs. lsp.org/recruit.html, Louisiana State Police. Maine. maine.gov/dvm/bvs, Maine Bureau of Veterans Services. maine.gov/bhr/state_jobs/index.htm, Maine State Jobs. maine.gov/dps/msp/jobs/trooper_recruitment.html, Maine State Police. Maryland Veteran Jobs. mdva.state.md.us, Maryland Department of Veterans Affairs. mdva.state.md.us/state/employment.html, Maryland Veterans Employment and Business Assistance. dllr.maryland.gov/employment/veteranservices.shtml, Maryland Veterans Services. mdworkforcepromise.org/veterans.html, Maryland Workforce Promise, Help for Homeless Vets. dbm.maryland.gov/jobseekers/pages/jobsearch.aspx, Maryland State Jobs. mdsb.org, Maryland State Police. msbaviation.org/recruit_medic.asp, Maryland State Police Aviation Division, Flight Paramedic. Massachusetts. mass.gov/veterans, Massachusetts Department of Veterans Services. jobs.hrd.state.ma.us/recruit/public/3111/index.do?open form, Massachusetts State Jobs. mass.gov/eopss/agencies/msp Massachusetts State Police. Michigan. michigan.gov/dmvia, Michigan Department of Military and Veterans Affairs. michigan.gov, Michigan Veterans Employment Services. michigan.gov, Michigan State Jobs. Minnesota. mdva.state.mn.us, Minnesota Department of Veterans Affairs. positivelyminnesota.com/jobseekers/veterans/employment_for_veterans/indexaspx, Minnesota Veterans Employment Tools. minnesotaveteran.org, Minnesota Veterans Services. careers.state.mn.us, Minnesota State Careers. dps.mn.gov/pages/default.aspx, Minnesota State Police. Mississippi. vab.ms.gov, Mississippi State Veterans Affairs Board. mdes.ms.gov/home/jobseeker-services/all-veteran-services.html, Mississippi Veterans Services. sbbres.ms.gov/appl-tests/soccq.asp, Mississippi State Personnel Board. dps.ms.us/dps/dps.nsf/div pages/hp3rec-general open document, Mississippi Highway Patrol. Missouri. mvc.dps.mo.gov, Missouri Veterans Commission. oa.mo.gov/per/joas/newjoas.htm, Missouri State Jobs. mshop.dps.missouri.gov/mshopweb/patrol division/hrd/index.html, Missouri State Highway Patrol. Montana. montanadma.org/montana-veterans-affairs, Montana Veterans Affairs Department. wsd.dli.mt.gov/veterans/vetemployment.asp, Montana Veterans Employment Services. svc.mt.gov/state-job-search/search results.aspx ? $0, Montana State Jobs. doj.mt.gov/enforcement/highway patrol, Montana Highway Patrol. Nebraska. vets.state.ne.us, Nebraska Veterans Affairs Department. das.state.ne.us, Nebraska State Jobs. statepatrol.nebraska.gov, Nebraska State Patrol. Nevada. veterans.nv.gov, Nevada Office of Veterans Affairs. dop.nv.gov, Nevada State Jobs. dps.nv.gov/recruitment.shtml, Nevada Department of Public Safety. New Hampshire. nh.gov/nhveterans, New Hampshire State Veterans Council. admin.state.nh.us/hr, New Hampshire State Jobs. nh.gov/safety/division/nhsp/ssb/recruitment/index.html, New Hampshire State Police. New Jersey. state.nj.us/military, New Jersey Department of Military and Veterans Affairs. lwd.dol.state.nj.us/labor/wnjpin/findjobs/veterans/veterans.html, New Jersey Veterans Services. state.nj.us/csc, New Jersey State Jobs, Civil Service Commission. njsp.org/recruit/recruit.html, New Jersey State Police. New Mexico. dvs.state.nm.us, New Mexico Department of Veterans Services. nmsp.dps.state.nm.us, New Mexico State Police. New York. veterans.state.ny.us, New York State Division of Veterans Affairs. cs.ny.gov/jobseeker, New York State Jobs. troopers.state.ny.us/employment, New York State Police. North Carolina. doa.nc.gov/vets, North Carolina Division of Veterans Affairs. osp.state.nc.us/jobs, North Carolina State Jobs. jobs.nccrimecontrol.org, North Carolina State Police. North Dakota. nd.gov/veterans, North Dakota Veterans Affairs. jobsnd.com/veterans/services-veterans, North Dakota Veterans Services. nd.gov/ndhp/about-us/employment, North Dakota Highway Patrol. Ohio. dvs.ohio.gov, Ohio Department of Veterans Services. dvs.ohio.gov/homes/veterans_benefits/employment_services.aspx, Ohio Veterans Careers.ohio.gov, Ohio State Jobs. statepatrol.ohio.gov/recruit.htm, Ohio State Highway Patrol. Oklahoma. ok.gov/odva, Oklahoma Department of Veterans Affairs. ok.gov/opm/hr_n_employee_services/EAP, Oklahoma State Jobs. dps.state.ok.us/ohp/tngrct/ohpweb/index.html, Oklahoma Highway Patrol. Oregon. odva.state.or.us, Oregon Department of Veterans Affairs. Oregon.gov/odva/employment.shtml, Oregon Veteran Employment. OregonJobs.org/?PG=BBC, Oregon State Jobs. egov.oregon.gov/OSB/employment.shtml, Oregon State Police. Pennsylvania. milvet.state.pa.us/dmvia/index.htm, Pennsylvania Department of Military and Veterans Affairs. dli.state.pa.us/landi/cwp/view.asp?mark=$129 &Q=$60994, Pennsylvania Veterans Career Services. portal.state.pa.us/portal/server.pt/community/jobseekers/11372, Pennsylvania State Jobs. patrooper.com, Pennsylvania State Troopers. /jobs/pennsylvania.shtml. Rhode Island. dhs.ri.gov/veterans/veterans-services/tbd/307/default.aspx, Rhode Island Division of Veterans Affairs. dlt.ri.gov/webdev/jobsri/statejobs.htm, Rhode Island State Jobs. risp.state.ri.us/recruitment, Rhode Island State Police. South Carolina. govoep.state.sc.us/va, South Carolina Office of Veterans Affairs. sces.org/individual/vetinfo.htm, South Carolina Veterans Employment Information. ohr.sc.gov/or/jobs-portal-index.phtm, South Carolina State Jobs. schp.org/employment.asp, South Carolina Highway Patrol. South Dakota. mva.sd.gov/default.html, South Dakota Department of Military and Veteran Affairs. bop.sd.gov/workforce, South Dakota State Jobs. dps.sd.gov/enforcement/highway_patrol, South Dakota Highway Patrol. dlr.sd.gov/vet/default.aspx, South Dakota Veterans Services. dlr.sd.gov/vet/upward_bound.aspx, South Dakota Veterans Upward Bound. Tennessee. state.tn.us/veteran, Tennessee Department of Veterans Affairs. tennessee.gov/labor-wfd/veterans.htm, Tennessee Veterans Employment Assistance. agency.governmentjobs.com/tennessee/default.cfm. tn.gov/safety/thp/school.shtml, Tennessee Highway Patrol. Texas. tvc.state.tx.us, Texas Veterans Commission. twc.state.tx.us/customers/jsemp/veterans.html, Texas Veterans Employment and Training. wit.tx.us/work-in-Texas/wtx?page-gov_job_bank&cookie check flag =$1, Texas State Jobs. txdps.state.tx.us/training academy/trooper_trainee/trainee links.htm, Texas State Troopers. Utah. veterans.utah.gov, Utah Department of Veterans Affairs. jobs.utah.gov/jobseeker/veterans/employtrain.html, Utah Veterans Employment Services. statejobs.utah.gov, Utah State Jobs. publicsafety.utah.gov/highway-patrol/employment/employment.html, Utah Highway Patrol. Vermont. va.state.vt.us, Vermont Office of Veterans Affairs. labor.vermont.gov/workers/jobseekers/veterans/tbd/215/item ID/1124/default.aspx, Vermont Veterans Employment Preference. humanresources.vermont.gov, Vermont State Jobs. vsp.vermont.gov/employment, Vermont State Police. Virginia. dvs.virginia.gov, Virginia Department of Veterans Services. dvs.virginia.gov/job.htm, Virginia Veterans Services Employment. vec.virginia.gov/vec portal/veterans/veterans vcs.cfm, Virginia Veterans Employment Services. jobs.agencies.virginia.gov/applicants/shared/search/search_css.jsp, Virginia State Jobs. vsp.state.va.us/employment.shtm, Virginia State Policy. Washington. dva.wa.gov, Washington Department of Veterans Affairs. careers.wa.gov, Washington State Jobs. wsp.wa.gov/employment/employment.htm, Washington State Patrol. West Virginia. veterans.wv.gov/pages/default.aspx, West Virginia Division of Veterans Affairs. state.wv.us/admin/personnel/jobs, West Virginia State Jobs. wvstatepolice.com/employ/employ.shtml, West Virginia State Police. Wisconsin. dva.state.wi.us, Wisconsin Department of Veterans Affairs. dwd.state.wi.us/veterans/home_vet.htm, Wisconsin Workforce Development for Veterans. dva.state.wi.us/ben_employment.asp, Wisconsin Veterans Affairs Employment Assistance. wisc.jobs/public/index.asp, Wisconsin State Jobs. dot.wisconsin.gov/statepatrol/recruitment/index.htm, Wisconsin State Patrol. Wyoming. wyomingworkforce.org/es/vets.aspx, Wyoming Veterans Employment Services. statejobs.state.wy.us, Wyoming State Jobs. whp.dot.state.wy.us/wydot/page 4827.html, Wyoming Highway Patrol. U.S. Department of Labor Info. The U.S. Department of Labor is there for both employers and employees to help with information and to enforce their laws. They have many booklets regarding all manner of the work scene. U.S. Department of Labor, the website. dol.gov. Facebook.com/Department of Labor. Twitter.com/USDOL. Instagram.com/USDOL. Deolata.gov, Employment and Training Administration. Deolata.gov/program/adtrain.htm, Adult Training Programs. Deolata.gov/program/empserve.htm, Employment Services. Deolata.gov/program/disloc.htm, Dislocated Worker Programs. Workforce training providers/courses and schools that teach about the different careers and how to look for a job. careeronestop.org/weaprovidersearch.asp, Workforce training providers. Government job type websites. benefits.gov. bls.gov/o, Occupational Outlook Handbook. mynextmove.org, My Next Move. bls.gov, Bureau of Labor Statistics. workforceinfocouncil.org, Workforce Information Council. Pension and Welfare Benefits Agency. dol.gov/dole/pwba. Employment Standards Administration. Standards.gov.